is not letting up on Diddy because she just exposed him for unaliving and covering up the murder of her best friend, Erika Kennedy. Now, in case y'all didn't know, Erika worked very closely with Diddy as his fashion designer back in the early 2000s. However, right after she was done working with him, she wrote a tell-all book exposing Diddy's dirty secrets. And after the success of the book, she was found dead at her home, and to this day, nobody knows the cause of her death, despite there being several autopsy reports suggesting a possible homicide. And just like Kim Porter's death, Kimora believes Diddy messed with the investigation so he could cover it up because he had something to do with it. She's now asking for the case to be reopened.
He's just like a bigger than life kind of, powerhouse, and so he just kind of turns and manipulates the press and people and to believe, anything, like gaslighting,
Now, for those of y'all who didn't know who Erika was, she was best friends with Kimora, serving as the maid of honor at Kimora's wedding to Russell Simmons and their godmother to their daughters Ming and Aoki. Following her college graduation, Erika started her career working as a publicist with various top fashion designers, including Tommy Hilfiger and Diddy. However, just after a few months of working with Diddy, she quit her job. And now this is where things get real interesting, because right after quitting her job, she wrote an explosive book called Bling. The book detailed all the disturbing things she saw while she was working with Diddy and the other awful things that he would do to people. The book also detailed how a certain music mogul, which many people believe to be Russell Simmons, had an inappropriate relationship with an underage model. And in case y'all didn't know, Russell was pushing 40 when he started dating Kimora, who was only 16 at the time. Now, the book went on to be a massive hit and even became a New York Times bestseller in 2004.
You did some writing before for
InStyle. I was an entertainment reporter. I did a lot of celebrity interviews with a lot of hip-hop artists that helped me give me material for the book.
How does it feel to have a first book out, a debut, and then people be so lyrical about it?
It's exciting, but I think people like the book because it's a good book and it's funny and it's an entertaining read, but also because I think people are really fascinated by the hip-hop world. And this book really takes you behind the scenes and shows you like really what's going on in that VIP room at the P. Diddy party and what's going on in the Hamptons and at the record label, like what really happens. And I think that's part of the fascination people have with the book.
But as I said earlier, just after the book came out, Erika was found dead at her home in Miami. And mind you, she had no medical issues. But despite it being over a decade since she died, her cause of death has not been confirmed. Now, if y'all remember, after Kim Porter died, it was reported by multiple sources that Kim was also writing a tell-all book about her life and everything she went through with Diddy. But right as she was preparing to release the book, she died. Now, what's even more sketchy is that at the time of Kim's death, the coroner who was assigned to investigate her death, Ed Winter, ruled her death a homicide after he found huge doses of toxins in her body. Ed is actually the same coroner who investigated the deaths of other high-profile celebrities like Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Brittany Murphy, Paul Walker, Tom Petty, and more. So when Ed says something isn't right, then you know something really isn't right. But right after the autopsy was made public, he was fired from the case and replaced by another coroner. Now, I don't know about y'all, but there's only one person who has the power to get somebody as big as Ed fired, and that's Diddy. This new coroner was actually the one who ended up ruling it as pneumonia, and he took a whole 2 weeks to come to that conclusion, which is very weird within itself, because if it really was pneumonia, it wouldn't have